Hey everyone, it's me, Mrs. Doe. This is not my normal area. As you can see, I am very cozy in my robe. It is 15 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia. I was out running errands and I'm all snuggled down right now, getting ready to kind of rest and prepare for the long holiday weekend. But I did hear the news about Tory Lanez and that he was convicted, found guilty on all three charges in his case regarding Megan Thee Stallion being shot. I will say, I'm shocked, but not really because you can't really predict the outcome and things like this because of how the case was going, as far as some of the testimony that I heard about and other people's commentary. I thought that it would be a mistrial. I did not think that there would be a unanimous verdict as far as all of the jury members finding him guilty of intentionally and purposefully shooting Meg Thee Stallion. Either way, I wanted to chime in from the perspective of a marriage and family therapist, a clinician, a relationship coach. I think I'm going to title this Convoluted Relationships: Why Consent, Boundaries, and Emotional Regulation Are Necessary. Because from what I heard regarding this case, regarding the incident that night when they were partying or together at the home where they were that night, the events that occurred that seemed to include jealousy, backbiting amongst friends. I don't know if she and Tori were officially dating at that time, but being intimate, having sex with someone, even if it's without strings attached, even if it is consensual and there's no relationship or emotion that's put into it. I'm sure many of you who followed the case, even more closely than I have, heard that Meg Thee Stallion stated that she was embarrassed, that she didn't want to talk about having had sex with Tory Lanez. I don't know. And it seems that there were patterns as well as far as that occurring in her friendship with Kelsey. Interesting thing to me is, was there a defined relationship between her and Tory at the time when that incident occurred where she was shot? Was there a justifiable reason for them going back to the house, them having the altercation in the vehicle and in the streets? The only reason betrayal hurts and is defined as betrayal is because it typically occurs by someone that you love, you trust, and you would not expect those behaviors from. So whatever happened between Megan, Kelsey, and Tori, we weren't there. We'll probably never know the full and absolute truth. However, when there is no consent as far as having a non-monogamous relationship, without having a label on the relationship, things like this occur. When there are no boundaries as far as behaviors, what you will tolerate, where you will draw the line, and when you're willing to walk away with your dignity, in parentheses, then things like this occur. And when there is a lack of emotional regulation, I would say all parties involved. I don't know what happened with the bodyguard, the driver, I heard he was missing, but between Kelsey, Megan, and Tori, obviously something happened where emotions were sparked and there was a lack of self-control. In situations like this, is it worth it? Is it worth a trial? Is it worth dragging something out for years? Something that makes you feel ashamed, something that affects you professionally, something that negatively impacts your career, something that has you questioning your value and your worth. I heard at one point Megan said that she wished that she was killed on that night as opposed to just being shot and having to deal with all the backlash that she faced. So much is coming out of this that I hope can really be a lesson for anyone who is entertaining a relationship. And y'all have to excuse my son, my toddler's reluctant to wind down for the night. However, there was no emotional regulation here. There was a lack of ability to control themselves. There was a lack of the ability to have a discussion. Clearly, emotions ran high. Clearly, there was some distress, intolerance here. And 2 years later, someone is going to jail, possibly prison, because I am aware that Tory had a felony. So I don't know what is going to come out of this for him. I do know that he is a father, and to see his child express emotions the way that he did was very impactful and honestly hurtful. You know, I'm a mother as well, and I can only imagine not being present for my child and having a barrier such as, you know, jail or prison, preventing me from seeing my child. That's a hard thing to deal with. But this is why it's important to think ahead. Don't just act in the moment. Don't just act out of anger, frustration, irritability. Of course, we can say things that we later regret, but when we take action, you can't take back. An apology won't fix it. This is a situation where people's lives are changed potentially forever. There is trauma attached to this for Meg, possibly for Kelsey and Tory and his children, and people that they are attached to. This is something that is going to have like a domino effect. I also see how within the Black community, within the hip hop or rap culture and community, there is so much tension for people taking sides, trying to figure out what actually happened. Did he actually do it? Did Kelsey have more to do with it than, you know, she said or that the prosecutors were willing to bring out? Because she did, to my knowledge, request immunity. So what else is there that was not brought out during this case? Like I said earlier, we may not know, but what we do know is that convoluted relationships that lack boundaries, that lack consent, that lack honesty, that lack integrity, and when individuals lack the ability to use emotional regulation in a positive way, in a healthy way, you got to catch yourself. Don't let anybody get you to the point where you can't control your actions. And now there is a consequence that you may not be able to come back for. Is it worth it? So just think on this for a little while. After I, you know, go back and watch some more of my favorite YouTubers like Lovely T, Armand Wiggins, the Queen Poe, etc., I'll probably come back and break this down a little bit more from a perspective of relationships, non-consensual relationships, consensual monogamy, and what that could look like. But as we see, without those three things, consent, boundaries, and emotional regulation, shit gets rough. And it's me, Mrs. Doe, your down to earth marriage and family therapist, just chiming in from her cozy bed, or, you know, preparing to enjoy the holiday Christmas weekend and hearing this news. I hope you all listen into this. I hope you all take a step back and really process how you're feeling about it. And if there's anything that you take away from this, let me know in the comments. I will interact with you, and I look forward to engaging with you later. Good night. Thanks for watching.